Stephen I, also known as King St. Stephen, was the last Grand Prince of the Hungarians between 997 and 1001, and the first King of Hungary from 1000 to 1001 until his death in 1038. The year of his birth is uncertain, but many details of his life suggest that he was born in or after 975 in Esztergom. At his birth, he was given the pagan name Vajk. The date of his baptism is unknown. He was the only son of Grand Prince Esztergom.At and his wife, Esztergom, who was descended from the prominent family of the Gyulas. Although both of his parents were baptized, Stephen was the first member of his family to become a devout Christian. He married Gisela of Bavaria, a scion of the Imperial Ottonian dynasty. After succeeding his father in 997, Stephen had to fight for the throne against his relative Kopany, who was supported by large numbers of pagan warriors. He defeated Kopany mainly with the assistance of foreign knights, including Vechelin, Hont and Pasmani, but also with help from native lords. He was crowned on the 25th of December 1000 to the 1st of January 1001 with a crown sent by Pope Sylvester II. In a series of wars against semi-independent tribes and chieftains, including the Black Hungarians and his uncle, Gyula the Younger, he unified the Carpathian Basin. He protected the independence of his kingdom by forcing the invading troops of Conrad II, Holy Roman Emperor, to withdraw from Hungary in 1030. Stephen established at least one archbishopric, 6 bishoprics and 3 Benedictine monasteries. Thus the Church in Hungary developed independently of the archbishops of the Holy Roman Empire. He encouraged the spread of Christianity with severe punishments for ignoring Christian customs. His system of local administration was based on counties organized around fortresses and administered by royal officials. Hungary, which enjoyed a lasting period of peace during his reign, became a preferred route for pilgrims and merchants traveling between Western Europe and the Holy Land at Constantinople. He survived all of his children. He died on the 15th of August 1038 and was buried in his new basilica, built in Székesfehérvár and dedicated to the Holy Virgin. His death caused civil wars which lasted for decades. He was canonized by Pope Gregory VII, together with his son, Emeric, and Bishop Gerard of Csanad. In 1083, Stephen is a popular saint in Hungary and the neighboring territories. In Hungary, his feast day is also a public holiday commemorating the foundation of the state. Early years. Stephen's birth date is uncertain because it was not recorded in contemporaneous documents. Hungarian and Polish chronicles written centuries later give 3 different years: 967, 969 and 975. The unanimous testimony of his 3 late 11th century or early 12th century hagiographies and other Hungarian sources, which state that Stephen was still an adolescent in 997, substantiate the reliability of the later year. Stephen's lesser legend adds that he was born in Esztergom, which implies that he was born after 972 because his father, Esztergom.At, Grand Prince of the Hungarians, chose Esztergom as royal residence around that year. Esztergom.At promoted the spread of Christianity among his subjects by force, but never ceased worshipping pagan gods. Both his sons, greater legend and a nearly contemporaneous Thietmar of Mersburg, described Esztergom.At as a cruel monarch, suggesting that he was a despot who mercilessly consolidated his authority over the rebellious Hungarian lords. Hungarian chronicles agree that Stephen's mother was Esztergom, daughter of Gyula, a Hungarian chieftain with jurisdiction either in Transylvania or in the wider region of the confluence of the rivers Tisza and Ross. Many historians, including Paul Engel and Gaiula Christo, propose that her father was identical with Gaius, who had been baptized in Constantinople around 952 and remained faithful to Christianity, according to Byzantine chronicler John Skylitzes. However, this identification is not unanimously accepted. Historian Georgi Giorfi states that it was not Cyril's father, but his younger brother, who was baptized in the Byzantine capital. In contrast with all Hungarian sources, the Polish-Hungarian Chronicle and later Polish sources state that Stephen's mother was Adelheid, an otherwise unknown sister of Duke Mieszko I of Poland, but the reliability of this report is not accepted by modern historians. Stephen was born as Vajk, a name derived from the Turkish word Baj meaning hero, master, prince, or rich. Stephen's greater legend narrates that he was baptized by the saintly Bishop Adalbert of Prague, who stayed in Gez's court several times between 983 and 994. However, Saint Adalbert's nearly contemporaneous legend, written by Bruno of Querfurt, does not mention this event. Accordingly, the date of Stephen's baptism is unknown. Giorfi argues that he was baptized soon after birth, while Christo proposes that he only received baptism just before his father's death in 997. Stephen's official hagiography, written by Bishop Hartwig and sanctioned by Pope Innocent III, narrates that he was fully instructed in the knowledge of the grammatical art in his childhood. This implies that he studied Latin, though some skepticism is warranted as few kings of this era were able to write. His two other late 11th century hagiographies do not mention any grammatical studies, stating only that he was brought up by receiving an education appropriate for a little prince. Christo says that the latter remark only refers to Stephen's physical training, including his participation in hunts and military actions. According to the Illuminated Chronicle, one of his tutors was a Count Deodatus from Italy, who later founded a monastery in Tartar. According to Stephen's legends, Grand Prince Ge-At convoked an assembly of the Hungarian chieftains and warriors when Stephen ascended to the first stage of adolescence, at the age of 14 or 15. Ge-At nominated Stephen as his successor, and all those present took an oath of loyalty to the young prince. Giorfi also writes, without identifying his source, that Ge-At appointed his son to rule the Nitra Ducat around that time. Slovak historians, including Jan Steinhubel and Jan Lukács, accept Giorfi's view and propose that Stephen administered Nitra from around 995. Ge-At arranged Stephen's marriage to Gisela, daughter of Henry the Wrangler, Duke of Bavaria, in or after 995. This marriage established the first family link between a Hungarian ruler and a Western European ruling house, as Gisela was closely related to the Ottonian dynasty of Holy Roman Emperors. According to popular tradition preserved in the Schern Abbey in Bavaria, the ceremony took place at the Schern Castle and was celebrated by St. Adalbert. Gisela was accompanied to her new home by Bavarian knights, many of whom received land grants from her husband and settled in Hungary, helping to strengthen Stephen's military position. Giorfi writes that Stephen and his wife presumably settled in Nitra after the marriage.